What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Shooting the Shit Uncensored. You know who this is. It's the truth, baby. It's the dad bod god, Piers Austin, and I'm joined once again with this crazy malacca to my left, to my right, whatever side, I don't know. It's like, what's up? The man with the three largest legs in professional wrestling, the original greaser, Robbie fucking Zucco. What's going on, brother?
How are you, Piers? You doing well?
Mate, I'm always good when I get to hang out with you, bro, and especially get to hang out with some pretty awesome individuals we got coming on the show tonight.
You know what? I've actually been thinking, do you actually have me on the show because of eye candy? Because I believe that that's the reason why you actually have me on the show. Now, for all the audience out there, look, please forgive Piers. He's a nice guy. He's the nicest guy you ever meet. Got a good heart, but yeah, I know he's hard to look at, but he's got a great voice too. So let's
I've got a head for radio, and are you here for the eye candy? Yes, I am, because I really want to improve this certain demographic, and that's the female 65 and older. So I'm really going for the GILF dynamic. So bringing you in, I'm sure we'll get that. So, but anyway, before we get into the podcast, Zucco, let's take a quick second to thank our sponsor for this evening, and that is healthvape.com. Now, healthvape.com is your healthy vaping alternative. All of their products, no nicotine, no addictive or harmful chemicals. They help restore your energy while giving you that vital fucking boost you need to get through your day. And these bitches are vitamin infused. So it is like vaping a freaking Red Bull. So if you're one of those filthy fucking smokers or those filthy cloud chucking vape fucking people, get on a healthy alternative. Check out healthvape.com. Use that promo code MWAPOD to get a 10% discount at your final purchase.
Whoa, beautiful.
Whoa, shit, you almost broke the camera there, Rob. But hey, I'll tell you what, man, I'm excited for tonight's episode. Let's not talk shit, just us two. Let's bring two more motherfuckers in and talk even more shit. Let's get it on with BDE, baby, Rickie, Gilmore, and the loud one, Big Dave Ski. Yeah. Boom, we're live, baby. What's going on, boys?
Hey, how you doing?
Sunday.
Is that your mugshot in the background?
I didn't know how to change the background, so I changed the one we were watching, and I can't change it.
Hey, man,
It's my passport. It's my passport. I want to call open. I'm gonna die. I told Rickie behind the scenes, I'm like, oh, dude, I can't change my background. I'm fucked. It's just going to be my mug this entire time.
Hey.
Oh.
Well, what were you saying about bringing in the GILF demographic? We've got it right here.
Give the man some water. Are you okay?
I'm here now. You've got this is the perfect, if you're listening to this podcast and not watching it, you're missing out on some fine entertainment at the moment.
Hey, that's where everyone can go check it out. You're watching on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that share, subscribe, all that good shit. But boys, welcome back to the episode. This is great having you both on the one episode. I'm excited to have you both on. But man,
it's dangerous, Piers. It's dangerous. I wouldn't have done it.
The first double bicep, everyone. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, all right.
All right, we brothered out now.
That's a message straight to Gore. That's a message straight to Gore. Our arms are bigger than you, Gore, you piece of shit.
Shit.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
gonna keep it simple. Fuck you, Gore. That's it. I'm gonna let my actions speak louder than my words. And when we meet him at Wrestle Rock, I don't know when this is going to drop, but when we meet him at Wrestle Rock, I'm going to spit in his fucking face and then face fuck his fucking head right into the canvas. I'm done with him.
Did you say you're going to face fuck his head into the canvas?
That's what I said.
Fair enough.
I said exactly what I said.
What's your issue with this gore?
He looks like disheveled foreskin that has just been left to rot outside for 20 plus years, has not been attended to. Water has somehow hit it. It's seen sunlight and it's just grown a microorganism on it, and it's gained sentience.
Oh, so he's a future promoter. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
And Rickie, how are you?
How are you, Rickie?
I don't know if you and I are going to get any words in tonight. These two are just going to go back and forth, and we're just going to be spectators tonight.
Hey, man, I control the mute button, so it's all good on that one. we'll all get a say, man. But, boys, what's been going on, man? You guys had a big weekend. Like, you worked, I think, Friday, Saturday, and did you work Sunday as well?
Hold on, Piers. Let me let me stop you right there.
No, Dave.
Big weekend. Poor Rickie here, and God rest his soul. God bless his soul for showing up the way he did on Saturday. He went through a really scary injury at the hands of Castone not too long ago, and for him to even show up at PCW is a blessing. All right, it's a medical absolute marvel that he managed to even show up after that horrific injury, right? And then he comes out and he saves me. I can't believe it. All right, so but don't confuse with what I did with what we did. I had to go out there and work 3 matches that Saturday night.
I was not medically cleared. I would have been out there to help you if I was medically cleared. These were
Are you saying DMDU is not canon? Are you saying DMDU is not canon right now? Is that what I'm hearing from you? Go shoot the shit.
I was not medically cleared at PCW.
Oh, okay. Then are you implying the medical bar of entry is a little bit lower?
There's a bar of entry. I'll sneak under it. Doesn't matter where it is.
Oh, boys. But so how was the weekend?
It was good. It was event filled. There was a lot of wrestling on, so it wasn't just DMD, it wasn't just PCW. Like all around, I think there were a couple other things. We had BCW Friday night as well. It was a good weekend of wrestling. You know, great turnouts, great energy. I'm sore. My back and shoulders hurt. But
that's just from carrying me, though.
That's it. Yeah. No, I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to. It was heavily implied.
In seriousness, we've said it many times, and we'll keep saying it. Saturday night at PCW, that place at the moment, churning out some of the best wrestling in Melbourne. They had a sold-out crowd, and when we say sold out, it was genuinely sold out. We had to bring in extra rows of seats to fit more. Awesome. The standing room only people who had comps were standing room only. They had their annual Royal Rumble, which pretty good turnout. And right now, the work that PCW are doing in Melbourne, I think, is absolutely outstanding and just isn't really getting enough credit. I know MCW gets a lot of credit and well-deserved. Yeah. MCW has been the standard in Melbourne for the longest period of time, and I don't see that changing. But at the moment, PCW is really at their heels.
Yeah, I mean, PCW is really on its way up, and you see that with a lot of the talent that have come out of there. Also, a lot of talent that work for that company as well. And it also doesn't seem to you hear much drama coming out of PCW like you do other places. If that makes sense. Like it seems to be like a pretty drama free.
Yeah, I think what PCW have done over the last sort of since the end of the pandemic is they've kind of opened their doors and just said, everyone come and see what PCW is about. And if you're in Melbourne, the PCW product's very different to everything that's out there. Obviously, you've got, DMDU's very indie sort of deathmatch fan base, is a very niche fan base. You've got MCW, MCW again, probably a bit more mass appeal, but still kind of very indie. That kind of do that indie style of wrestling. And then PCW is as close to what I would call a WWE style, very family friendly product. And they just opened their doors to absolutely everyone, both fans and workers, and just said, come check it out. And they opened the doors to us. And we weren't from the PCW Academy. We didn't train at the PCW Academy. I think we're both very vocal about our upbringing at the Relentless School of Pro Wrestling, but them just opening the doors to absolutely everyone and saying, come on down, it's kind of really expanded the product.
Yeah, and PCW have actually been around forever. I mean, they're the pioneers of the actual company. You know, Lobo and Spike Steel. Take It, Mad Dog was also part of that as well. So you know, it's got a good history to it as well. So you know, they've been around for a long time, so they do know what they're doing. So
yeah, and I think that's one of the key things that we saw when we entered the PCW environment is we know it's got such a storied history, like one of the oldest in the country. But it doesn't rely on that history when you're in those doors. Like it does a lot to, and like they got the academy, similar to MCW as the academy. But you know, for the longest time, they utilize their own academy upstarts, and that's what they're creating their product off now. And yeah, as Rickie was saying before, like we're very, very much Relentless trained and proud of that. And I guess to see the fact that we can come in there and we can go with the PCWs is both a shining to the PCW Academy, to the product of show that they put on, but also to the I guess the upbringing and training that we've had as well. I don't know if anyone was watching, but I was just playing with my passport photo just before, and I'm still so just enamored with myself at the moment.
I was quietly laughing at that. I was just trying to listen to Rick. I could tell he's like not amused.
Yeah, well, I think like for most part, like for promotions to open up that do have their own training school, but you know what, we want to put on the best show possible. So why not open the doors to other people? Because I feel like as soon as you start restricting and putting a restriction on yourself, essentially, like I get it, every wrestling school in the country or the world wants to say, hey, we produce the best talent, but like you're all fishing from the same pond, essentially, right?
But we're not wrestling historians, especially in the Australian/Melbourne scene, by any stretch of the imagination. But it seems like, just from our perception, from what we've seen over the last like handful of years, maybe we go back as the last 5 years, there's been such a resurgence of competition, especially in the Melbourne scene. There's so many promotions, there's so many options, so much like viability and different styles of training and etc. that to segregate oneself and to close off, you know, you're not really going to, unless you're offering such a really different style of show, you're not going to really benefit from that. And I think that's where, you know, and we're not speaking for them, but from what we've seen, that's where a lot of promotions are now starting to open the doors and bring in, you know, different style, like different training school wrestlers, you know, rather than using their own talent to create that different style of product, right? To then create their own brand, essentially, right, that brings in these free agents, right? Rather than just retelling the same stories with their own styles and flavors, you get to utilize some of the other experience and talents that are coming in. And like we've definitely seen that over the last like 4 years, these companies opening their doors and going, you know, what can, you know, the relationship between PCW and MCW, for example, you know, you got Riot coming in and doing a bunch of stuff around the Melbourne scene as well. Us from Relentless going out there and working, you know, Renegades, PCW, MCW as well. Like it creates, you know, all these different styles and flavors start to amalgamate in the same pot. You know, it creates different wrestling.
100%. And I think it also gives certain wrestlers and all wrestlers a chance to work with other people, not just necessarily people they train with where they've practiced this match 3 weeks before the show or whatever it may be. But it's like, okay, you're going to wrestle this person who you're not going to have contact with till the show. This is how you're going to have to work to get it. And I think that will produce better workers overall. And you get to learn from each other as well.
Well, yeah, even PCW this weekend, if I look at who was on the show, that they've just brought Jake Taylor back, and he's had a pretty long few years down at New Japan working the Fale Dojo. And I think we got a lot of experience. Just him being in the locker room, it's someone else to bounce off. And he came up, gave us some advice after the show on the matches and stuff like that. They're bringing in people who are going to give advice to that talent and foster it. So,
well, that's good.
Yeah. I mean, you know, that's a main thing, but you know, like talking about the Australian wrestling scene and people bringing people in, one thing I've always wondered, like in the Australian wrestling scene, who would be like a big draw? Like if we're looking at Australian talent, not bringing internationals or anything like that, but like someone on the Australian scene that's like he gets booked up in a show, it's guaranteed to be a sellout, or she, or whoever.
JXT. Right
JXT?
now. Right now, just you throw JXT on the card, you got cash. You've at least got back to the western suburbs, right? Like
It depends on where they're booked at. You know what I mean? JXT where? In Sydney?
Anywhere west of the CBD, and you've probably got 300. You got 300 asses in seats right there.
Really?
Well, I do know that Jackson Kelly for the past however many years for IWA and DY, he's sold out that place himself.
Really?
400 people going to the RSL at DY, and man, you got grown adults like jumping on the tables, like it was like riotish looking. It was out of control. So
like you got other guys like and if you're thinking like I guess international notoriety that we still have in Australia, like you probably can't look too much past Slex. Like the brother's been doing this 20 plus years. He still looks peeled to the absolute fucking gills. He's insane, and he's at the peak of his game at the moment. He just did the NWA tour. The Smashing Pumpkins. They were relatively sold out, and they looked visually fantastic. Like if you're thinking about what's the one name that you have to slap to a card right now that isn't BDE or JXT to sell out, right? It's
oh brother.
It's probably Slex, and then like a very very close underneath those names I just listed. Maybe like an Edward Dusk or something. Just throw that name out there as well. If you put him on the middle to undercard, it might do okay. You put him up against an up and comer like Jake Taylor, and see what they go, see how they throw. But they're obviously having to follow BDE in the opener, so it's a bit tough.
You know who's not on that list though?
Gore.
Fucking Gore. Gore is not selling any tickets.
You think if BDE had the book for a day, we would book Gore on our card, please?
Gore is turning people away.
Yeah, catering backstage. You know how much that fat motherfucker eats.
Zucco, do you know who Gore is?
No, but I'm getting the general gist.
Crackerjack's brother.
Okay, I've met Crackerjack. I know Crackerjack, but I've never met his brother. I might have. I can't remember. Forgive me if I have, but I don't remember.
All I want is the snippet from A to B of you just cutting it, and it's just me calling Gore a fat fuck at catering, and that's if you just put that one out there. Tag him, and then that's all the promotion we need.
So what does Gore do? He's a promoter?
Nothing. He does nothing.
He's a manager? What is he? Yeah, like let's
He's a germ. He's a germ and a shit stain on Australian wrestling. That's what he is. Okay. And we're gonna wipe the floor with him at Wrestle Rock at the Corner Hotel.
So he can
wipe the floor with Gore.
Can he work?
Depends what your definition of work is.
Yeah, depends. Like
seems to be a loose definition.
Is the brother diving through the middle rope on a middle rope superseder or whatever that move is, and landing on his feet, and then hurricanranaing off the top? I don't think so, right? But is he standing there and doing these? Yeah. Right. Is he doing this? Yeah. That's all he's gonna do. That's what he's gonna do.
Okay.
He's gonna book me. I don't think so. Gore.
Let's get to the nitty gritty. What's your issue with him?
Rickie, you can go first. I'm too mad to speak.
I just think I have issue with phony tough guys, and he wants to say he's the Snuff King and he's going to destroy us, and that he has this storied mixed martial arts and fighting career. I think deep down he's a pussy.
And let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, Gore. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for the last couple of months, all right? And as a white belt brother myself, you think that you know the ins and outs of how to grapple on that mat better than I do? But just because you went to the Olympics, that makes you all of a sudden something tougher. You know nothing. That was 20 years ago, Gore. What are you going to do now, huh? What are you going to do when Brother Dave comes running up on you like that?
Jesus.
Fucking
Don't kill me, Gore.
So I take it you're working him on the weekend or next week, whenever it is.
Yeah, so we got the
May 13th. We got the Bastard Brothers Gore and Crackerjack.
Okay, so he's part of the bar. Now I've heard of that. I just didn't know his actual name. That's all. So
At this point, we have no issue with Crackerjack. We're very big fans of Crackerjack. He has not said anything derogatory about us. We like Crackerjack. He's been like a father figure to us. He's mentored us
at MCW. He was the one that got us over there. So we've got nothing but love and time for Crackerjack. It's just a shame.
What did he say? What was said? What words?
From Gore or Crackerjack?
From whoever you got the problem with.
Well, Gore doesn't say a lot of words. He just kind of mumbles verbal diarrhea. Enunciation is not his strong point. He doesn't necessarily get his words out. That's why he has Crackerjack there. He needs someone to translate for him.
Ah.
I'm going to fucking smack him upside the head in Wrestle Rock with a dictionary. Right? That's going to be the opening spot.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. There you go. So, what's been going on in Melbourne, boys? Like, I'm seeing a lot of shit going on online, a lot of people sort of going back and forth and spats going at each other. What's been the issue?
Oh, God, I actually have no idea. I'm really zoned out with that Twitter. This is not me protecting myself against getting cancelled. I genuinely do not know what because I remember logging on one day, and this is Jen Shoots, right? I remember logging on one day to Twitter, and like my timeline is just, hey, Melbourne wrestling, is everything okay over there? Like, it seems like you guys are blowing up a little bit. I just want everyone to be safe, right? And it's the classic, you know, the ones that are talking about that, right? It's the ones that always tweet out like that. And then I hit up Rickie, and I'm just like, what the fuck are we talking about? Like, what's going on? What's going on? Right? And apparently, and this is the extent of my knowledge, it has something to do with the backyard.
Some landscaping issues.
Okay, Piers?
Yeah. So
something to do with backyards, right? Whether or not there was a fencing dispute between a couple of neighbors and they bit an issue and they took it outside, I don't know. But a backyard was thrown around, and people don't like backyards. Now,
not in wrestling.
Yeah. I got no mind either way, right? Look, I've got a nice landscape backyard myself. I know Rickie takes good care of his lawn, so I've got no particular issues.
I think I have the best lawn in professional wrestling, and I challenge any wrestler to send me a photo of their lawn and say that it's better than mine.
I agree.
I will bet my left testicle that I have the best lawn in professional wrestling.
It's great.
I think Robbie Zucco has the best lawn because I cut his grass just the other week. Oh, sorry.
Anyway, there was a fencing dispute, to my knowledge. I don't know the ins and outs of it. But yeah, that's. I think Rickie might know a little bit more. I'm just going to conveniently slide the talking stick over to him.
So how's that for a handball? I think to lightly touch on it, essentially all it comes, we've said it before. This is local wrestling. We're not fucking curing cancer, and I think some people probably just take things a little too serious. And a lot of people just kind of need to take a step back and breathe and realize that what we're doing is not that fucking serious, as serious as some people want to make it. It's really not. We do this for a lot of fun. We do this to entertain the fans. And I think essentially,
so long as we do it safely.
Yeah, I think essentially a lot of people are coming from the right place, but wrestling's for everyone, right? Wrestling should be for everyone. As I think everyone who's in wrestling at the moment has experienced being in a schoolyard or something and saying you're a wrestling fan and getting bullied or teased and called a nerd. We're already a very niche community as it is. We don't need infighting. Infighting's just terrible for wrestling. But as much as wrestling is for everyone, being a wrestler is not for everyone. And that's a harsh reality for a lot of people. And I think everyone, at the end of the day, we have a product that we need to uphold, and there's a standard that we need to uphold in this business, right? The biggest thing for me is if you're running a show and you are a random person who has never seen a wrestling show in your fucking life, and you see a poster out on the street and go, cool, I'm going to go check that out. And you go there and you have an absolute shit experience because things weren't done right,
you're
never going to go to another wrestling show again. And if you, the very next day, see a poster for an MCW, a PCW, any credible promotion that is putting out a great product, you're going to turn around and go, no, I saw wrestling last week and it was absolute fucking dog shit. I'm not going to go to that. And that's the issue. We're not going to grow wrestling by just opening the door. Coincidentally, we were talking about opening the doors before, but you just open the doors to absolutely fucking everyone and just say, hey, come on in, let's all fucking do it. Then it's not an attraction anymore, right? Supply and demand. It's simple economics 101, supply and demand. If we absolutely flood the industry with just every person that wants to be a wrestler, demand's going to go away.
Just treat it like a business. If I was going in to start a business, it's exactly that. It's supply and demand. It's not to say that you can't start a business in a really high supply market. It's just that, well, if you're going to go start a business, you're going to do your basic due diligence to begin with, right? You're going to understand what that looks like from top to bottom. Everyone's going to be treated with the due respect. You're going to follow basic OH&S laws, right? And you're going to have all the necessary staff on hand when required. It's business 101. And if you can run a business, then you're welcome to run in this industry. But that should be generalist understanding for everything.
But I think as well, like the main thing like that came out that I saw this weekend that someone sent me was a trainee who's probably, I don't want to quote her time in the business, but it's under a year. I think it's even under 6 months, taking a table spot in a corner, which looked pretty bad. And I saw people tweeting about it and making comments. Do you think that a trainee should have been put in that situation? And I'll ask all three of you, because you all three, are professional wrestlers here. What are your thoughts?
No, I don't even know the clip you're talking about. Was that a Melbourne-based clip?
Look, I think it was, yeah.
Look, I saw a clip, but I'd say, for 6 months, no, they should be they should be first bumping. If they want to have some sort of match, they can have a squash match where they're just copping it all and just taking bump after bump, and maybe get one, maybe two things in. But that should be it. That's the first 6 months. You know what I mean? There's those times where you're supposed to just shut up and listen. And that's how, when you start off in the industry, how it should be. It's not, oh, yeah, but I want to do this. But no, you shut up and listen. Listen to the guy that's going to carry you throughout the match because you're new. You know what I mean? But no, you shouldn't be taking those big bumps too soon. You know what I mean? If you don't know what else to do, I think this is too dangerous.
Just on that, though, there's a point to say shut up and listen, right? And you want to be putting yourself in situations where you trust the people around you, that you are going to shut up and listen to the people around you who are know what they're doing. But there also comes a point where it's got to fall back on the individual, right? You can't, if you're not comfortable in any spot, if you're not comfortable in anything, it comes down to you to talk up. There was once upon a time that I copped a little bit of heat because I turned down a rookie rumble. This is pre-Relentless, right? But, we were training. There was a rookie rumble on offer. I turned it down because I wasn't comfortable. I didn't think I was ready to be in front of a crowd. I didn't have a gimmick. I didn't have a character name. I didn't have, a move set down that I wanted to do. I was just absolutely not comfortable to be put in front of a crowd. And I turned that down. And I think that was the right decision at that time for me. And if I didn't turn that down, BDE may not be what it is today, right? Maybe something happened.
Selfish fuck.
Exactly. Exactly.
You could be signed to WWE right now.
Exactly.
But
I turned it down to stay here with Dave.
Was this when you were starting off, though? Is this when you were starting off? You just didn't want to do it, or you just didn't feel comfortable about the people that trained you?
No, I didn't feel comfortable or confident in myself. And that
was just a self-confidence thing. Yeah, I get that. That's a different issue. I'm talking about if you're
from my perspective, I don't think
you want to go. Like, if you're confident and you're ready to go and whatnot, but then you're putting your trust in other people that run a different style. You know what I mean? That rather run big high spots first than actual basics first. You know what I mean? As a rookie, that's
our philosophy is, and this has been our philosophy since we started, and it's still our philosophy now. We didn't get in the ring until we were ready, and like that's Rickie's point here is that we didn't. We even tried to turn down the Relentless Rumble when we tried to do it in Colac, right? It was at that point where we were just still like, look, we just don't want to do a Rumble because we weren't 100% comfortable. But when we say that, from the outside looking in, if you were our trainers, you're probably looking at them and going, well, they're there, right? Their back bumps, all their bumps and rolls and psychology, it's all there. They can wrestle. It was just a comfortability thing for us to say, look, it's at this point in time, we're just not too comfortable just getting in there yet. But the point I'm making here is you shouldn't step through the rope unless you know how to work a match anyway, right? So if this person that did this table bump isn't someone that knows how to do a table bump, then that's the whole separate issue. But you're never going to know how to do a table bump until you do a table bump. But assuming you know how to do a bump, the theory follows through. Now I'm not justifying what happened here because I should have not seen this clip, right? But I remember my first table bump, and prior to taking a table bump, I didn't take a table bump, but my fundamentals were so fine that I knew where to hit. I trusted enough the person obviously being like, yeah, it'll snap about there. So if I put the pressure down there, that's where it'll snap. And then it's the exact same fundamentals as a back bump, right? But if I don't know how to take a back bump safely, and especially one that's at height and distance, because that's essentially what a table bump is. It's a heightened back bump, right? You're taking the back bump in, but then you're falling again, right? Yeah. So if you don't know how to take the fundamental of that bump, then you shouldn't even think about being in between those ropes. Right, but then it comes a point where does it meet in the middle? If you've never taken a table bump, then you're never going to take a table bump.
But you know what? I can see it from like both sides of the fence here as well, Rob, because it's like these guys to sit there and say, you know what, we're not comfortable to do that. That to me says these guys aren't marks. And I mean, you've been around long enough, Rob, to see the kids that aren't even anywhere close to being ready, trying to get themselves on these cards because they just want to get in the ring and mark out in front of their fucking family.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And like I said, there's just a difference. They weren't confident enough in their ability just yet and wanted to get better before they did a match. No problem. That's fine. So when I say shut up and listen, if you're ready to go and they turn around and say yes, well then, that means you're ready to go. You know what I mean? But you guys weren't mentally ready and you guys felt that you needed more training and whatnot and want to do it. But that's good. That's a really good thing. But what I'm saying is, if you're ready to go and you give the promoter confidence that you can do a match or you can do this. No, the first fucking spot of your fucking life should not be a table bump.
I also think though a lot of this comes down to the foresight of the promoter, right? So if I look at our first match, the Relentless boys were smart enough to go, hey, these boys are having their first match. Let's not just put another rookie tag team in there and hope they figure it out. They put us against Mile High. They put us against Tyson Baxter and Jet Ruka, who'd worked in MCW, had been champions in multiple companies, and had just guessing well over 50 matches each. They were vets at that point. They were both very experienced wrestlers to say, hey, we're in a good position here. We know who we're working with. And that comes down to the promoter putting people with the right, you got to match them up right.
Yeah.
Everyone is at fault in that table bump spot. I haven't seen it, but I'm just assuming everyone's at fault.
Yeah.
But dude, like we've seen here, like in Sydney, Rob, firsthand that they've had people that have put on shows with people that aren't trained. And you know what, that's the scariest fucking thing about it, is because it's like now you don't even need to be trained. You can just go to find some promoter and go, hey man, it's my dream to fucking wrestle. I'll work for free.
Yeah.
I'll help you do the ring. I'll do whatever. And then these kids have been put in a situation where they can get injured and it's fucked. There needs to be I'm not saying like a regular, maybe a regulator for professional wrestling needs to come into place, because some of this shit needs to fucking stop.
Yeah. Look, and I'll turn around and be the first one to say, look, you do whatever the fuck you want, but I guarantee you this, and it always happens, you will be exposed, because the moment they figure out you can't work, it'll be hard for you to get booked. And if you're not willing to learn, it'll be hard for you to get booked. You know what I mean? So yeah, go do your crazy ass spots for your first, second match, whatever you want to do. But I guarantee you, when it comes time to actually run a proper match, what the fuck are you going to do? And then they're going to go, fuck, you've gone up here and done all this, but no, you still haven't learned the fundamentals, and you really can't do anything. So right now you're just smoking mirrors in the business. You're not a proper wrestler.
100%. This is correct. No promotion needs to have a second mass transit incident. You know what I mean? That's exactly that.
APW did.
If you want to look at us as some kind of example, Rickie and I, we have 5 moves, and we do those 5 moves well enough, and we're somehow booked on shows, right? You just fill the gap with those 5 moves.
But that's kind of like, I heard an interview with Raven, and he said that like years ago in this interview, where he was saying like, when someone comes up to him at a show, like someone who's like coming up and he goes, "Oh, what can you do?" And they say, "I can do everything." Well, what are you good at? I'm good at everything. No one's good at fucking everything. What are the 3 things that you're good at? That's about anyone who needs to be in wrestling. What's the fucking go, right? And then go from there. So it's, goes in parcel.
But I think we like, I listened to another podcast last week, and I'll give the bloke a shout out. I'll give the bloke a shout out. So Rocky Monero was on the podcast, and he spoke about wanting to be a sports entertainer more so than a professional wrestler. And I think there's a lot of credence to that, right? Because when you're a sports entertainer and you entertain the crowd, and you know how to control the crowd through your actions, through your words, through your moves, that when you do that 1 or 2 big moves, it means so much more, right? If you're just any Tom, Dick, or Harry coming out saying like, "Hey, let's do this move, this move, this move," by match number 4 or 5, when you have 3-4 matches preceding that all look the exact same, the crowd's desensitized to it. And we've got a bloke in the last match who's going to use a DDT as his finish, but every match before it's had a DDT, and everyone's kicked out of it. Kills it. Absolutely.
We preach JXT hard on this one in the Relentless Boys, but it rings true, and we say it everywhere we go. It's not about the moves; it's about the moments.
We're in the business, though. That's the thing. It's not a wrestling business. It's the entertainment. You know what I mean? Everybody knows what the fuck's going on. But you learn your basics, and then once you do that, you build up to what you want to be, your character and whatnot, and you come up with creative ideas. And I just think a lot of people just fail to learn certain stuff and understand what the business is all about. You know what I mean? It's all entertainment. And it's proven fact. You've had the most successful wrestlers are the ones that only do a few things and say the right things. And compared to, you take a Dean Malenko out there, he's got every move under the sun. But then you take a Hogan, and all of a sudden, geez, that guy's the biggest fucking draw, and he's only got a couple of moves. It's a big difference. Even
those guys like the Dean Malenko, or what you would consider a classic like indie wrestler or something. If you want to look at WWE at the moment, those guys that came from the indies, a Sami Zayn, a Kevin Owens, a Daniel Bryan, now he's not in WWE. All those guys are what you'd consider or what people would say they're wrestlers. Yeah, they're wrestlers.
Yeah.
They're also fucking sports entertainers. They get both sides of it. Yeah. And because they get both sides of it, it all looks better. So I hate when people say like, no, you want to be a professional wrestler, and you don't, the whole, what did Paul Heyman say? You made professional wrestling a dirty word. It was a fucking promo. He was talking shit. He was working. Right?
And he fired them all up, didn't he?
Exactly. Right. You can be both, and being a good professional wrestler means being a good sports entertainer, and they go hand in hand. There's no such thing where you need to be either a pro wrestler and like know every move under the sun, or you need to be a sports entertainer and only know like 2 moves and just have it all be goo goo gaga shit. There's a meeting of both, and when you get the meeting of both, when you get those best wrestlers. Hulk Hogan, there's matches of Hulk Hogan in New Japan where he's doing every move under the sun. He knew how to work. He just knew when he needed to pull things out. There was a period where John Cena was doing the US Open Challenge and was pulling out Hurricane Ranas and Canadian Destroyers every week on Raw, just to kind of prove a point. They can do all those moves, but they don't need to, because they know how to be a good sports entertainer. You can be both.
And I think that there's levels to it. And I think when you get to that level of being, like I said, and you said it before, it's like Hogan could wrestle like that. We've seen the clips from Japan, but he didn't need to. Same with The Rock. The Rock earlier in his career doing his feud with Triple H, amazing matches. Now, well, the back end of his career, he didn't need to do that much. It was more of like the facial expressions and body languages, which got him more of a reaction. And it's like even, Rey Mysterio, he got himself over, so he doesn't need to continue. You know what I mean? Like he got all that shit over, but then it's like, okay, well, he doesn't need to wrestle that style and continue to break his body down.
Even you look at the moment, Seth Rollins, my favorite wrestler at the moment. The most traction he's gotten in the past 12 months is with his theme song and getting the crowd to sing along with it. He can do every move under the sun, and he's a fantastic professional wrestler. My absolute favorite, but the thing that's gotten him the most over is that sports entertainment side of it. So I hate hearing people say you can't do both, and
it's the same as Daniel Bryan. Like I think he's probably one of the best professional wrestlers in the world. What was the thing that got him most over? Yes. And then to change it up and went heel? No. You know what I mean? Like it's so simple, but it's like that's what took him from being, he's just a good wrestler.
We'll use, like, just to kind of round this topic, we'll use a grounded example with what Rickie and I are doing at the moment with PCW. As I'm not saying it's a great example, but it's definitely not a shitty example as in terms of what we're trying to do as sports entertainers in this business. And every time that we go out there, it's an escalation of the story, right? And we're connecting with the crowd every single time. The last match that we had there, where I did the singles match against Cass, I did 3 moves. But before, when my music hit, to see the reactions that we got from the crowd, because we had done our jobs as sports entertainers and planted the seeds emotionally through telling this classic hatred of, he's ruining tag team wrestling and we're coming here to save it. And we've been telling this for the last couple of months. Just the moment that our theme hit and I come running out and the crowd erupted and I hit the spear, and then it was just like 3 seconds of just looking at the crowd. They were already there. And I only hit 2 other moves in that match. The rest of that match was staring down with Cass and then staring down with Daniels. And it's those moments that they're going to remember and go, it was the feeling of knowing that at some point this is going to blow over. And we will know when we've done our job right in terms of sports entertainers is when we'll have that blow-off match with them, when we will win those fucking titles. We're going to win them, but we will not lock up for a couple of minutes in that match because we anticipate that the work that we have done will have paid off to a point that as soon as the bell rings, the crowd will tell the story for us. And that's professional wrestling. And you can achieve that with moves, but we haven't had to achieve that with moves. And that you can say what you want in terms of whether or not we're great workers for that. But if we get that reaction out of the crowd without having to put our bodies through, go off ladders and through tables and put our body through the stresses and rigors of all these high octane moves, and we've only had to do 5, but we've managed to tell a story for the last 6 months by doing that, then you tell me who's the better worker.
100%. I mean, I tend to think this is, if you're over, does that mean you're a bad, but if you're over and you can't wrestle, right? Or you're limited in wrestling, does that make you a bad wrestler or does that make you a bad worker?
How does the business make money? People pay to go see a fight, right? But what they're really doing is they're paying to see a story progress or blow off. And whether or not, if you're a shit worker and you've managed to do that, then either the promoter is absolutely fucking fantastic in marketing you and no one is clued onto it. And at some point, maybe the bubble will burst. But we've used that term worker so interchangeably. I wouldn't call them a shit worker, right? They're a fantastic sports entertainer. If they are the reason that we can attribute to the fact that ass is in the seat right now, fantastic.
I would say a good worker would know what they're good at and keep it to just that, right? So if in that situation where you said a good worker will know I'm only good at this, this, and this, I will keep it to just that because that's what's getting me over and keep doing that.
Yeah. I mean, it makes a lot of sense that way because you know, if a good worker is going to know what their strengths are and be able to play into it, as opposed to going, you know what, I'm going to try and do X, Y, and Z, and that I've never done before. See how it's done.
And at some point in time, BDE might add a 6 move, right? But at this point, we're seemingly doing okay with what we have. We're finally getting a chance to tell stories. And that's what we wanted to give PCW a shout out.
5-star match, right?
You know what? We're actually going to do a reduction of moves next week when we face Gore at the Corner Hotel, because we only need one fucking move to bury that shithead.
Yeah, and that's our vocabulary.
We only need one.
What the fuck fat out of your ears?
I feel like this has just been a 45-minute promo to Gore.
100%. Exactly.
It would be nice to see something from him to promote this match. He's definitely not a great sports entertainer. I fucking said it. He's a shit worker.
Whoa. Jeez. Oh, well. But what do you guys, you know, like, you're looking at what's been going on, like, where do you guys want to actually start sending this direction? Are you guys looking at sort of minimizing what companies you're working for at the moment and focusing more on PCW, or are you looking at sort of expanding and going out and trying to get more, you know, I know you guys both have busy shoot jobs, but, you know, is there a possibility of you guys branching out into the sort of interstate world?
Look, it's if a really nice interstate opportunity presented itself that it could make sense for us to be able to kind of take the journey up there and do it. Of course, we'd love to. Like we'd never turn away an interstate booking if it made sense. We're actually, to kind of peel the curtain back a little bit, we're kind of trying to lessen our load, just because life is what it is. Sure. We're kind of accepting the fact that, you know, we've sacrificed a fair bit of Saturdays over the last year and a half, that things are starting to get us by a little bit. Not that our bodies are kind of suffering for it, but you know, we've been very vocal about this from the start. You know, we're aware of the nature of the business and the realities that are associated with it. And, you know, if it's not like the window's closed for, you know, major opportunities out there, but at this point in time, it's all about whether or not we're having fun wrestling, and PCW is creating that fun for us. Mayhem is creating that fun for us. We've been swept up in politics in a lot of the other kind of promotions and situations where it just it wasn't becoming too fun. And it's always like, you can go back on any podcast that we've ever done. We've always said the same thing. And it's one of two things that will stop us wrestling. It's either BDE breaks up and you force us to do that, or we just don't have fun anymore. So I think. So
what attracts you to the actual politics in the game? You know what I mean? Like, what is it?
No, nothing attracts us to it. It's just there. I for one, hate the politics.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's fine. That's fine. I see it all the time in the locker room and whatnot, you know. But to me, because like I said, I'm pretty level-headed with everything. I don't really pay attention too much of it, because I don't know. I just don't see the benefit of it when it comes to professional wrestling. How do you guys get yourself involved with it? Like, what do you guys do? Do you guys see something and call bullshit? Do you guys say something? Because I pretty much just, if I see it, I just go laugh about it or just ignore it, or what is it? Because obviously
we don't do anything. Somehow the politics, and like, this is all hearsay and etc. But you know, there's rumors have floated around about BDE being X, Y, and Z, and it's not because we've had rumblings or runnings.
What's the X, Y, and Z? Tell me what.
Like difficult to work with. Wouldn't want to drop. I'll shoot. Didn't want to drop the belts. You know, they were vocal about it. You know, not wanting to work with particular people. And you know, we obviously mentioned it to the companies at the time when we said, well, unless you heard it from us, then it's obviously not true. Like, we don't subscribe to these politics. None of us talk about how the businesses should run and etc. We literally show up and just have fun. And you know, logic would follow and assume that just because that we're having fun, maybe some people don't like that. But we don't partake in the politics. But the politics seemingly finds its way around us. And we've looked at it now and just gone, well, it's starting to not become fun anymore. And if I am sacrificing, and I look at it as a pure economics, I am giving up my Saturday and I charge $350 an hour. If I'm not getting paid that, I'm doing it now out of my time for you as a hobby. All right. Otherwise, pay me for that, right? That's what I do Monday to Friday, right? And if you are not doing that for me, or at least respecting the fact that I'm doing this for fun, then you're not respecting me, right? And then you don't deserve what we have to offer, right? It's as simple as that. It's economics, right? So and that's why we look at it and we go, well, we can value our fun as almost priceless. So if you take that away from us, then you better be paying me $350 an hour, right, to give you a product and a service, because it's a business at the end of the day, and you should treat it like a business at the end of the day, right? And you wouldn't treat disrespect for unless you were paying your employees to do that, because we are giving and sacrificing our time for you, right? And that's what it is. We don't subscribe to the politics, but at particular points in time when it doesn't become fun anymore, that's when we kind of look at it and we go, well, maybe it's time to step back a little bit. We're having fun with Mayhem, we're having fun with PCW, we had a ton of fun with MCW, but we're now really happy to kind of just say, look, at this point in time, if those were the companies that reached out to us and wanted to work with us, we're happy to do that. If no one else reached out, then we'd probably be happy to kind of quietly sail off into the sunset.
So, Rickie, do you share that same view, the exact same view, or is yours a little bit different? Or
yeah, I think to Dave's point, the whole we do have shoot jobs Monday to Friday. We're pretty busy, and we touched on it before. It just comes down to, I think, some people wrestling's their entire life, right? And for us at the end of the day, and I'm happy to cop heat for this, because I know I've heard so many people talk about it. They live, die, breathe wrestling, and this is all they want to do, and that's fine. And I have a lot of respect for people who want to do that, and people that I see are doing fantastic things day in day out. Just off the top of my head, like the Pariah, those boys I see Monday to Friday posting in the gym, working out. Guys like at the moment, Matt Hayter over in America is absolutely putting in work. You see the work that like guys like Edward Dusk are doing in all their promos. Tom Crow's just come back from a massive injury, and his shoot job, he works, pretty dangerous shoot jobs, just come back in the ring lately. There's guys out there who are just absolutely busting their gut Monday to Friday and like live, breathe professional wrestling. But then there's also people who, to the other extent, live, breathe professional wrestling, but have this unhealthy obsession and unhealthy relationship with wrestling that it just clouds their vision. And, when things start to go bad, it's all they see, and it's all they deal with on a day in, day out basis. And it makes things bad for everyone. And for Dave and I think we're just happy at the moment to keep kind of an arm's length and just see things unfold. And we're having fun where we're having fun. We're enjoying PCW at the moment. We've got Wrestle Rock next week. We've got Go Announce this weekend. We're debuting at Renegades. I'm fucking excited to do that. These are the things that keep wrestling interesting and fun for me.
Yeah, and like, to make it as simple as possible, if you thought that I was disrespecting you with what I said before about how we're not having fun, or if fun is being taken away from us, therefore we hate this business, then you weren't listening to me.
No.
We love this business. That is why we are so forthcoming with giving up our entire Saturdays, despite how much that we do throughout the week. And we still think about it, but we give up our entire Saturdays because we want to. But if you're the one that is taking that energy away from us because of the fact that what Rickie had said, maybe it's a little bit too serious for you for whatever reason, and you can't see the pragmatic value or pragmatic perspective of what this actually all is, then we're happy to walk away.
So yeah, for Dave and I, right, like I said, we got our shoot jobs Monday to Friday. We have friends outside of the wrestling world. I have family. I got a mortgage that I'm dealing with. We have so many things in our life that I fucking love golf. I want to play golf on my Saturdays. Like I can't do that sometimes because of wrestling. And if I sit there and have to give up a booking or something because it's not the right thing for me, then so be it. And I don't ever want anything that we're saying to come across like we don't love professional wrestling because we fucking
Yeah,
absolutely love professional wrestling. That's why we're here. If I show you the rest of my room here, it's littered with figurines and it's taken over my life. My poor girlfriend has to sit down every week and watch Monday Night Raw for 3 hours with me because, you know, that's what I fucking do. Yeah, I think our fourth or fifth date, she sat down and watched WrestleMania with me. I fucking love this business.
That's fucking love right there, bro. That's love.
Right. She's a lovely girl, but I don't ever want to sit here and, you know, denigrate people who absolutely dedicate their entire life to professional wrestling, but do it in the right way and have a completely healthy perspective and understanding of what professional wrestling is, and you know, the right ways to go about it. It's just, we say it all the time. There's a few bad apples that spoil the fucking batch.
Yeah,
But that's the thing. Some people don't have a disconnect from it, and like maybe their shoot job career isn't where other people's is, and this is all that they've got. And like to a certain extent, bro, like the last couple months, I've been the same way when it comes to wrestling, where it's like, oh fuck, like, you know, I gotta go do this show or go do something. You know what I mean? Like, I got 3 kids. It's like I see where you guys are coming from, and like, because you see the bullshit that does make them.
As they said, you need to have fun with it. That's the main thing. If you're not having fun, don't fucking do it, because everybody does it out. You need to have fun. You know,
there's also this perspective of if you're doing all these other things in your life and you have that disconnect from professional wrestling, that when you step into it on a Saturday and it's fun, it's the best thing in the fucking world. Yeah. And having that perspective and having that disconnect makes it so much better. That sometimes if you're just enveloped by it and it's just all you're thinking about day in, day out, you're too close. What's the phrase? Too close to the trees to see the forest. Did I fuck that up? Yeah. That's the reality for some people.
You need that disconnect. You need to have that your lives, and you need to do your own thing. And you know, because if you're thinking about 24/7, you know, like, it's not. I personally never did that. I don't think it's that healthy. You know what I mean? So when it actually comes to the show, it's showtime, it's fun time, it's good time. You know, but apart from once I do it, I'll speak to the boys every now and then, but it's complete disconnect from it. You know what I mean?
I said it on the last time I was here, and like it's a prudent point that we bring up all the time. Monday to Friday, I don't think about professional wrestling. I don't think about what's going to happen on Saturday. I don't care. It doesn't make up a single second of my time Monday to Friday. For most people, it does, and I respect that. But for me, it doesn't. I have that disconnect. I'm doing other things, right? But as soon as Saturday comes around, it gets 100% of my attention, and that's because of the respect and the time that I've been able to give to it, right? But by having that disconnect, I'm able to recharge. And I think you can look at this disconnect, and I think this is how it should be perceived. If you aren't doing something with your Monday to Friday, for whatever reason that may be, and the things that you're doing are, you know, let's say you're thinking about wrestling on the weekend and etc., you can just shift that mindset a little bit and go, great, if I'm thinking about, you know, the weekend on Saturday and what I'm going to do, how about like go to the gym and just, rather than think about this as progressing myself to becoming a better professional wrestler, do it as I'm just going to the gym so that I can be a better me, right? And then don't think about wrestling. And then when Saturday comes around, fantastic, the work you've done throughout the week is going to transpire. You don't have to think about wrestling on the weekend or throughout the week. How you can create your own disconnects. It's not hard. Right, exactly. Rickie and I are just really fortunate that Monday to Friday we haven't actually got time to think about professional wrestling. Right? We're doing other things, and then after work, we're going to live lives.
Yeah, you guys aren't the only ones. You know, there is a lot of us out there, so it's not just you.
And that's what I'm saying. Those boys that I mentioned before, we've shared locker rooms with all of them and spoken with them. They're all great boys. They've all got, you know, a very healthy relationship with wrestling, and that's why we get along with them, right? Because
that's why you stay out of the politic bullshit, because you don't have fucking time for that shit.
Well, we don't. We're not creating the politics.
Especially when you actually go to it and you want to spend fun. You know what I mean? It's your fun time. It's your good time. It's the time where things are going to be happy, endorphins, you know, it's everything. So when you do that, you know, you got to separate it. Fuck that politic bullshit. Don't be part of that crap. You know what I mean? Someone says something shit like that, you know, you fuck it off. Or you can have a bit of a laugh, but don't get involved with it, because it's not worth your time. It really isn't.
Yeah, I think the only people that really get involved in it, like I said, are the people that just don't have outside lives, or you know what I mean? Like, they're just bitter about fuck off, idiot. But they're just bitter about their business as well. That could be another thing. It's like they aren't where they thought they would be at a certain age.
And I understand. We completely empathize and understand that. The solution just isn't to take it out on wrestlers and professional wrestling. The solution relies on the outside of professional wrestling. Right? That's as simple as that.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys have a weird and twisted, warped perception on how professional wrestling should be. So it's funny when I see everybody have these interesting views on how it should be and for different companies. It's quite intriguing because I'm like, really, is that how it should be? So okay, it's it's mind.
Give the book for the day.
Every time I hear a story, it's fucking mind-boggling. I just can't relate to it. You know, a lot of the stuff that I hear. I think there was a term that Bobby Blaze once told me, and he goes, "Don't believe anything you hear, and only half the shit you see." You know what I mean? And once you do that, you know everything will be fine. So don't believe everything you hear.
Wise
I
words.
agree. But give us the book for a day.
Give you the book for the day, sure.
All right, let me ask you boys this, right? I run a promotion. I decide to give you two the book. Run me through the card. Who's appearing?
What's that on it, brother?
Fucking Gore.
Gore's not on that card. For sure.
These guys are putting themselves over with the tag straps.
He's jerking the curtain and he's getting squashed in 30 seconds. That's for sure. That's all he deserves.
Sorry, Gore.
I've got Gore on there. So you got Gore on the show. You want Gore on the show?
I got Gore lacing my boots before Rickie and I step out to the main event where we verse Overkill for the straps or something. All right, but Gore, all right, sniffing the main card. He might be lucky. He might be lucky to get a spot on my undercard. All right, where the crowd is still kind of walking in, and he can put on. I'm going to make him work a 30-minute technical match. I want the brother to gas himself out.
So we've got a ring crew member. That's good. What about the rest of the card?
We didn't think this far ahead. Look, we'll be fair and respectful. Rickie and I will work a tag match in the open or just before intermission. We're not main event material. We know that. We're not there just yet. We'll put Josh on. We'll put JXT. He can work the main. We'll put him up against Slex. Right? We'll throw it back mid 2010s. We'll give them what they want. We'll sell out the Melbourne scene.
Nice, brother. That's it.
Right, that's what you need on the card.
And we're only gonna do a 4-match card because everyone's gonna be in bed by 9 o'clock. That's the way we operate.
But you know what? You should do a rumble, so then you've got a ring crew that can do all the ring stuff.
Yeah,
right?
That's actually what we're going to do because we've been speculating about this for a long time. Dave, every show we go to in the locker room will proclaim someone as the new third member of BDE, right? So it's gotten to the point where we have about 48 of unofficial third members of BDE. So we're going to throw them.
Protege, man.
We're all going to throw them in a fucking rumble, and we're going to figure out who the official third member of BDE is.
That opens the card. And then we have a story for the next 3 months, right? Because then once we determine our third member, our protege, then you get video packages of BDA and the protege, right? We start planning story. We train them, right? We're going to then establish a trios division, right? I'm just giving you 6 months.
Hey, you know what? I just had an idea. What if instead of put little people wrestlers in there and call it over the middle rope battle royal, and then they could be like the BDE.
Piers, don't do it. You know my kinks, man. You know my kinks. If I loaded up my Instagram reels right now, I almost guarantee you, I can almost guarantee, I'm willing to put money on it, that if I opened up my reels right now, it would be midgets. Or short people. Dwarves is the correct term, right? But I'm telling you, you have tapped into a kink of mine, Piers.
Really? That's
Rickie can confirm. Rickie can confirm.
No comment.
What is my reels? We sat backstage, and he's just like, "There's no way. There's like you're capping, man. There's no way that you're this obsessed with this kind of content." I'm like, "Give me 10 swipes. Give me 10 swipes on my reels, and I'll show you." And did it miss? Did it miss, Rickie? Did it miss?
No.
It didn't miss.
How many videos in 10 swipes was it? All of them?
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
We're not talking porn. We're just talking like comedy spots, right? Or
Midget wrestling.
Oh, midget wrestling. That is gold. Oh man.
So boys, what really happened on the weekend? Something happened on the weekend. I kind of feel that you guys are quite slightly disturbed with something. You're pumped up. You know, is there something more that actually happened on the weekend that you didn't agree with? What was the major concern about it?
Oh, I was concerned that I had to work 3 matches.
That's just one person, right? That fucked up your life.
And this motherfucker got the same pay that I did. I don't understand. Where's the equal opportunity employment there?
Right.
I did my part, and that's all that counts.
Yeah, you lie down for the 3-second tan is what you did.
Oh man.
Hey, great business, Rickie.
We did good business.
Hey, that's it. But boys, it is that time. It's time to wrap it up. BDE, thank you for being on Shooting the Shit Uncensored. Appreciate you, boys. Where can everyone find you on social media?
Piers, sorry, just 1 second before we do go. I do want to say it is a bit of a sad day in Melbourne wrestling today. Obviously, James from MCW announced this morning that his wife Kristen passed away after a long battle with cancer. I'm not going to pretend like Dave and I knew her incredibly well. Our dealings with her at MCW were absolutely incredible. She was a lovely human being. I think Rocky summed it up best on his Instagram tonight when he said, hold your people tonight a little bit tighter. Things like that make it very clear what's important in life and give everyone that perspective. And I think I speak for both of us when I say we're sending out our thoughts tonight to James and the entire MCW family and the entire Melbourne wrestling scene and everyone who's been touched by her.
Amen, brother. Amen to that.
Yeah, never knew her, but seeing the outpour from everyone, man, she definitely seemed like she was a very special lady, and I regret not being able to meet her. But thoughts and prayers go out to her and her family, and also the wider wrestling community as well, who did know her. So thoughts and prayers out to them. But guys, thank you very much for being on the show. It's been a great fun, and we look forward to talking to you guys again very soon. Anyway, guys, we'll see you again very soon on Shooting the Shit Uncensored. Make sure you tap the links, tap in, and get those forearms up. Booyah!